I love to hear the melodious tones of the lady with the glasses. We're live. Someone told me, by the way, Susan, Pops, you do a good invitation. So maybe I need to start doing like some of these comedians. You do her perfectly. We're live. See that? See that? Listen to that. Listen to that.
That's my job as
that's
my
producer,
job with the
your,
show is to say when we're live.
they call it collateral duties or all other duties as assigned. That's what they used to say in the military. Well, guess what, Facebook family? And you're important because you're the reason. You are the reason why we are on every Monday from 10 to 10:30, except for holidays, because of you. Because it's a Pop Barnes Health and Community Information Show. And guess what? It's health, because the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And so we bring to you professional individuals with health, both physical and behavioral health information, so that you can live a long, healthy life with your loved ones. And that's the sole purpose of this show here. And I am really, really, really blessed to have Dr. Nikita Pitts, who's with us every week. Dr. Pitts. And also the lady with the glasses, the executive producer, the one that puts it all in the machinery, Miss Susan Gallagher.
Good morning. Good morning.
And we have as our special guest, Miss Marcia Berlin, and she is with Open Hand Atlanta. She's a registered dietitian nutritionist, and she's going to give us some good information. And I'm waiting to hear it because I'm already losing weight. This is Lent, and I put out all the extra. My biggest thing, nemesis, sweets. I love sweets with a capital L, all kinds of sweets. And so I cut back on that, and I'm losing weight. That combined with all my total gym and all this other kind of exercise, I'm losing.
Very good.
Got on the scale. And I was able to get a haircut for the first time in over a year. My hair's not so long out the side.
Yeah, it's looking good.
And my beautiful wife was able to go to the beauty parlor for the first time in over a year. I mean, I was just so happy for her. And so we have a very, very, very good show. And I'm going to ask Miss Marcia to tell our Facebook viewing audience all about her, and information on Open Hand Atlanta. And then we're going to get started on this marvelous, and this is such good education on nutrition. Marcia, I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you coming on the show. So if you would tell our viewing audience, our Facebook friends, something about yourself.
Pops and crew. Hi, everybody. I'm Marcia. And
there we go.
And thanks for having me this morning. I'm a big fan of Pops and the show, so I'm happy to be here. You guys give out a lot of good information, and I am a dietitian with Open Hand Atlanta, and I'm a community dietitian. So yeah, they call us RDNs, Registered Dietitian Nutritionist. And I've been with Open Hand for a short while. I'm relatively new with Open Hand, but I've worked with them on partnerships for many, many years. I was a dietitian and a wellness specialist at the Atlanta Regional Commission for about 10 years. And then I worked at Northside Hospital as an outpatient dietitian for another 5 years. I've been doing this a long time. And now I'm at Open Hand and so happy to be with Open Hand. And what Open Hand does is our mission is that we cook, we deliver, we teach, and we care. So I love that mission. And at Open Hand, everybody really walks the walk. And Open Hand prepares, packs, and delivers over 5,000 meals on a daily basis. Has been in business, which is, impressive, right? needed.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, and very needed. And it's been in business for 30 years. And Open Hand's one of the largest community-based providers of home-delivered meals and nutrition services in the U.S. So I'm so happy to be here as one of the Open Hand dietitians today.
And it's exciting, all the things that you're doing, because one thing that just pandemic just highlighted, one of the things it's done, there's so much food insecurity nationwide. And so the work that you do at Open Hand is extremely important. It's important for all, because it's not just the seniors citizens, but they're the most impacted. But it has affected everyone. And then, Marcia, with the job situation, the way it is, people being out of work, they have to buy as they can buy. I mean, they have to go to some of these stores that may not have nutritious foods, and they need to know how to prepare those foods to be nutritious. And so we're just thankful that we have nutritionists. And now I'm going to ask a very important question. I don't want Dr. Pitts to answer, because I know Dr. Pitts knows the answer to this question. And so, what is the first prescription that the doctor writes for you when you go in a hospital? You're what?
Healthy eating.
The diet. That's exactly right. That's exactly. See, I knew Dr. Pitts knew that, so I didn't want Dr. Pitts to say, we're taking all the excitement out. And then Marcia, it wouldn't be a good intro. Every time I say that name, here's a story of a guy named Brady. Oh, let me get started. Let's get serious here for a minute. Anyway, Dr. Pitts is cracking up. Okay, Marcia, you have a very, very, very good number of slides here, so I'm going to turn it over to you. And as always, on this show, we're very relaxed. And so if we have any questions, we'll just jump right on in.
Please.
For you to hear us. And it's none of this formality stuff. We're very, very, very relaxed. And I'm going to have Harry Underwood, who is the guru as far as all this is concerned, to chat line so we can start actually answering questions. And I think we'll have Harry here next week in my house, sitting at the table like he used to be able to usher me. Okay, Pops, hit that button. Oh, Pops, do this here. No, don't do that. Put your hand down. That type of
You're going bold since you got your vaccine, huh?
That vaccine. Look. Before is it the coronavirus? Now I'm saying, is it the coronavirus? Bring it on. Okay, Marcia. I guess get started on this.
And I do want to say that, and I do want to say that part of what is newer at Open Hand is that what I'm hired to do mainly is to try to reach older adults in rural Georgia and all over Georgia, but including rural Georgia, so we can really expand our reach. And we're doing more telenutrition. So we're doing some nutrition education at senior centers and for older adults all throughout Georgia. So we're coming to a senior center near you soon. So
awesome.
So this is a little bit of an example of some of the nutrition education that we would give at a senior center, but we're going to be doing some virtual nutrition education. So today's topic, let me share my screen that your executive producer helped me know how to do. And let's see if I am going to do it exactly as she told me. Susan, the wonderful. I think I'm on track. So share. How'd I do, Susan?
There you go. We see your screen. Perfect.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
All right. Yay. I get an A+ on that. All right.
Exactly.
You guys can see my screen. Good. All
Very
right, y'all.
well.
So our topic for today is eating right when money is tight. And we're going to talk about thrifty meal planning that's delicious and nutritious. So what we're going to cover today is the 3 keys of eating on a budget. So that would be the planning, the purchasing, and the preparation. And we'll also talk a little bit about using My Plate and SNAP benefits.
Oh, that's awesome.
So first I have a question for you guys. So when you get to the checkout at the grocery store, are you surprised by how much?
It's Dr. Pitts and Susan the tough questions.
It's not a tough one. It's not a tough one. It's not. It's an easy one. When you get to the checkout at the grocery store, are you surprised by how much your total is? So your answer, is it You're always surprised by how much your total is, usually surprised, sometimes or never. And I can tell you, I am a bit of a shopaholic when it comes to groceries. It's kind of my happy place, the grocery store. So sometimes I do go overboard, and I am really surprised at the checkout about how much I've spent. So I want to know about you guys. So what do you think? Always, usually, sometimes, or never?
I shop with a list.
Nice.
And go through my coupons.
Perfect.
And check what's on sale at the store. And I'm one of those ones that as they scan it at the register, I'm making sure the scan price comes up at the same price as the as what was on the shelf. So nice. I'm going to say I'm like never surprised how much my total is. I shop within a budget, and I'm always prepared.
Wow, you are a shining example. That is so unusual.
That is. I have to say that I have to go with usually, sometimes and usually, because as Susan does, I'm constantly watching also. But because I am doing this mostly for my parents, doing the grocery shopping, I'm looking ahead. So sometimes if something is on sale that I know I'm going to need in the future, I'll tend to go ahead and purchase it because, well, that'll at least maybe save me some time or a trip on the next trip to the grocery store. So I usually will come with extra things that I'm like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, it was on sale, but I did buy it and it wasn't just one item. So that's why the bill usually is a little bit more. So I'd have to say usually I am surprised.
Right. That's a common answer. What about you, Pop?
No, I'm sorry. I'm always surprised, and then I'm saying, wait a minute now, did I mean to buy all this stuff here? And so no, I can't say it. I'm always surprised.
Okay, well, that's a common answer too. That is a very common answer. So let's talk a little bit about how we can decrease that amount at the checkout at the grocery store. So the first P in how to decrease our spending on groceries is in the planning. And Susan talked about some of this, and so did Dr. Pitts with a P? Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right,
okay.
Correct, P.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So yeah, you both mentioned some of these things. So the planning really can make a huge difference in our savings at the grocery store. So what do we mean by planning? Part of the planning is planning your menu ahead of time. So some of us do this on a regular basis, some of us do it sometimes, but it's a really great habit to get into and can help us stay on track when we get to the grocery store. So planning your menu ahead, so that would mean looking at your week ahead, right? And seeing what your week might look like. And when you might just grab something quick for dinner, or when you might really want to cook for dinner or maybe have a sandwich. It helps you see what's ahead of you for the week and really plan accordingly. And planning can be fun, it can be creative, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just needs to, you got to start somewhere. So you can plan just a few days, you can plan the whole week, but it's just a great way to save on our groceries, and is when you plan ahead. Also taking inventory of what you got already in your pantry and in your fridge. It's important to know what you have, what you need to stock up on. And those pantry items can really help you save money at the grocery store. So those staples at the in your pantry can really help. And making the list, I heard Susan mention making her list, and that is a critical step in saving at the grocery store. So Pops, that might help you. Do you go with the list?
And you're right, because when my wife sends it to the store and I come back with 2 or 3 bags, she said, I only asked you to pick up one item.
Exactly. And we all do a little bit of that, or most of us do, but you know, we can veer from the list a little bit, but we want to try to stick to it for the most part. There's always those few impulse items, but we don't want a whole cart full of impulse items, right? And then,
that's right.
And then those flyers and the coupons that Dr. Pitts and Susan mentioned, doing flyers and coupons are super helpful. Using your fresh, frozen, and canned produce, it can be a mix of everything. It doesn't all have to be fresh. It's good to just have those on hand so you can, and stock up, and that helps save money at the grocery store. And then those pantry staples are super important, so we want to stock up on those and keep those on hand. What do we mean by pantry staples? What are some of your favorite pantry staples? Mine, for example, I always like to keep beans on hand and some
pasta,
canned tuna. And what was that?
Yeah.
Right, that's
stuff.
a great one. Yeah.
Pasta and rice.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
soup, yeah.
Those are soups, yes. So having some of those pantry staples on hand, stocking up, that really helps save at the grocery store. So when we're talking about planning our meals, you guys have heard, most people have heard of My Plate. If you haven't, we can just go through it real quick. If you have, it can be a bit of a review. Does it sounds familiar to you guys, the My Plate? Or is this?
Yes, Marcia. But let me tell you something,
Yeah.
Marcia. This is really, you can't really go over this too much. Because you need to have a reminder. In fact, I'm going to tell you what I did. I think I told you my biggest thing was sweets and whatever. And Susan and Dr. Pitts mentioned I love pasta. But you know, if you keep this plate in mind, and this is going to sound funny, but I would have to do that because either I would have half the plate full of meat.
Yeah.
And a small, the other two areas very small when it comes to the vegetables. In fact,
Yeah.
the vegetables were almost non-existent. And so when I really made up my mind that I was going, and I knew better too. I've taken nutrition. But if you have something visual to help you be a little bit more disciplined, to know this is what you really need to do, it kind of helps. So I don't think that you can show this too much. I think it's very important for people, and I'm really glad that you're taking the time to go over it.
I agree with you. I think it's simple in theory, but it's not simple to achieve. So it is good to be reminded, and it's so helpful to get that balance and the variety and the moderation that we're trying to achieve with our plates. And this can help with the planning before you even go to the grocery store. So because you want to make sure that you're able to make these kind of plates when you get home. So the My Plate, you can download it at myplate.gov. But what it is half your plate with produce as much as possible. It's never going to be, it's not always going to be perfect, I should say, but we can shoot for that. Half our plate with produce, and then the other half split between your protein and grains and some dairy on the side. So trying to mix it up, get that balance, variety, moderation. A lot of color on the plate helps do this. And so again, you can check this out at myplate.gov for reminders. And
Marcia,
yes, ma'am.
Can I? So a lot of people are doing soy milks and nut milks. Do those count as dairy, or are they more in the vegetable or grain area?
That's a great question. There's so many different substitutes for dairy, right? These days you see all kinds of milk now in the milk aisle, and it can be overwhelming and confusing, and they do vary. So that's a really good question, and they're all sort of made a bit differently depending on which kind of milk, but they have, for example, soy has more protein than almond milk, and then most of the substitutes do have calcium. So it just depends on the kind of milk, and you can always check those food labels to look for calcium. That's what you asked about, calcium, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Does it count as a dairy? Do those count as dairy?
I'm sorry. I took it another step to the calcium. And to answer your question, yes, because most of them do have calcium and some protein, they can count as a dairy. Yes, to answer your question. So
Okay.
they're all a little bit different, but yes, those can be a substitute for cow's milk for dairy. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I drink almond milk and soy milk. I really like them both. So that's how I get a lot of my dairy too. So that's a good question. Did I answer your
Yes,
question,
ma'am.
Susan? Okay. And then as far as saving money at the grocery store, another way is focusing on the purchasing process. So that would be the second P in our 3 Ps of saving at the grocery store. So the first one, we all have to watch this, don't we? Don't shop hungry. Does anyone ever go to the grocery store hungry? I know I do. I try not to.
Marcia, they need, I think that it must be some type of communist plot or something, because whenever I pull up to the store, that whatever that hormone is that triggers appetite, I think something in the air or something, because I'm okay when I'm in my truck. When I get out my truck, I'm ravenous, and then guess who through the store? Pops, I'm over here. Don't you want to have this here? I'm over here, Pops. Don't you want to take me home? And that always happens to me. So I feel what you're saying about do not shop hungry.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Because what do we do when we're hungry, especially really hungry, and we shop? We really go off that list, don't we? We just get all kinds of impulses.
Exactly right.
Right. So, and we don't usually make the most thought out, healthiest choices when we're shopping hungry. So we want food that's delicious and nutritious. So you want that balance, but shopping hungry will really be a way to sabotage that healthy eating. So, and not just the healthy eating, but you'll spend a lot more. So you want to try to stick to that list as best you can. Like we talked about, super helpful in keeping within your budget. And buying in season really helps us keep within our budget and eat healthier. And it's going to be the produce that's on sale is usually the produce that's in season, typically. And it tastes fresher, and it's just a win-win all around to buy in season. And then you can create your own snack packs. You know how you can buy those individually wrapped snacks like popcorn and nuts and all different types of snacks. You can make your own, buy in bulk, which will save money, but then make your own trail mixes and little snack packs when you get home. And then
make sure you're measuring so that you're doing your portion control.
Exactly. You don't want to go overboard. And that's kind of what's super helpful too with making those snack packs when you get home is you have control about how much you put in your little snack bag. Right. So you definitely want to be aware of the amounts. Good point. And then shopping at farmers markets.
Some really good comments. Pastor Roger Mitchell in Lawton, Oklahoma, soldiers of a church, he says, yes, Jerry, it starts calling our name. He's talking about when he does the same thing as I do, that when you're shopping, it starts calling your name. But one of the things that you mentioned, and I did see on the slide, and I'm glad that Susan brought it up, was I'm a horrendous snacker. And during this particular Lent time, I'm having difficulty because I don't want to be snacking on this and snacking on that. But having nutritious snacks also help in a lot of different areas. It helps with elimination. It's smart because if you choose the right items, you can satisfy that mouth taste and whatever, and keep your weight down at the same time. So you mentioned some good things, like you mentioned popcorn. What's some other good things that a person can combine that would soothe your palate taste, but at the same time be good for you?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Pops, because you're right. Snacks really are part of our healthy eating plan, and they're delicious, they're nutritious, they help you from being too hungry for the next meal. So snacks can be really important in our eating healthy and a healthy lifestyle. So, and not going overboard for your next meal. So I think really anything that you like in moderation is going to be a snack that you're going to want to incorporate, because you want things that you like. Because if you have a snack that's just healthy and you don't really like it, then you're still not going to be satisfied, and you're just going to keep wanting something different. So I think for snacks, you want to try to have what you want, just like Susan said earlier, watch those portions. And as long as the portions are moderate and you're having snacks that you enjoy, but in smaller amounts, then I think that's a great strategy for snacking. Does that answer your question, Pops?
Yes, it does. And I'm speaking from a personal perspective, because I do like the snack, and you have to choose things that not only have that good palate taste, but are good for you as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because what happens if we try to eat super healthy snacks, but that's not really what we want, then we just end up unsatisfied and still looking for what we really want. So we tend to kind of overeat if we don't just go ahead and have what we want. So like if you want a cookie, but you eat an apple instead, you might not be satisfied, and then you're still going to eat the cookie on top of it. So if you want a cookie, just eat a cookie or two, maybe 3, but you don't want to go overboard and eat a whole sleeve of Girl Scout cookies. Just a few.
And before we go on, I'd like to thank Pastors Velma and Roger for watching the show. And Roger, you still have the same weight that you have in the army. I need to know what your secret is. You must be doing all the stuff that Marcia is doing.
Well, I try. I try. Anybody have questions or comments at this point?
Just a comment about balance, and
Dr.
I
Pitts
mentioned this when I stepped away,
Dr.
but I know
Pitts
for myself, kind of like being always like a student, balance is really important, because I would tend to just snack all day and not really prepare a meal. And so if I was running from class to class, or even, getting home late at night, then the snacking, or what I would call mini meals, that's what kind of carried me. But, eating dried fruits and almonds, it's maybe a healthy snack, but to do that all day, might not be the wisest thing. So it's important to have balance, even in your snacking, to kind of help carry. And that's something I had to learn the hard way, but it's always just a matter of convenience. So, I'm just making a point that the snacking should be balanced as well, even if you're not having a meal.
That was Dr. Pitts. You were cutting out a lot. Could you guys hear her better?
No.
Yes,
sorry.
I can hear.
I was just making a point about having balanced snacking, because for me, I would do like what I call mini meals, and just go throughout the day snacking, and sometimes not even having a balanced meal or main course, and that wasn't always good. And even though you're probably running from class to class and not getting home until really late, I would say, well, at least I've been eating all day, but it just makes a difference what you're eating. So eating, let's say, dried fruits or nuts throughout the day, it might be healthy, but to do that all day might not be so wise. Exactly. So I was just making a point about balance.
Yeah. Oh, I think, yeah. Yes, you were cutting out a little bit, but I think I got it. I think you're saying that even if you're eating healthy snacks, but if you just go overboard with even healthy snacks, it's still you're going overboard, and you're not staying again within that moderation and balance, because you just gone crazy, but with healthy snacks. Did I get that right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's a really good point, Dr. Pitts, because yes, just because something's healthy doesn't mean we can just eat it with no portion control, right? So we still have to watch the amounts. Calories still add up, even if it's you know, healthy food, right? So yes,
calories in, calories out.
Well, nuts and dried fruit are a good example of that. They're super healthy. They give us really good nutrients and fiber, and they're just all around super healthy. Nuts and dried fruit, but they can add up really quickly in the calorie amount. So we do want to watch the amount. So yes, even though a snack is healthy, it doesn't mean that you just want to eat it without any moderation. That's an excellent point.
Exactly.
And talking about our 3 P's of saving money at the grocery store, this brings us to the preparation. So remember when we talked about planning your meals in advance and then making that grocery list. So now you're ready to prepare your meals after you've shopped, right? So you now can prepare some of those meals in advance. This really keeps us from doing that spontaneous run to Chick-fil-A too often, or grabbing to-go food too often. I mean, we all do. Of course, if you live in Georgia, you have to be a Chick-fil-A fan, but you still want to use that moderation, right? So if you prepare some of your meals in advance, it'll keep you from grabbing fast food and quick meals too often. And also in your preparation, do you guys find that if you prepare meals in advance, you grab fast food and such less? Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
If the food is already prepped and all you have to do is get home and pop it in the microwave, yes. And it saves you, you're making a better nutrition choice, and it saves you money. Fast food is expensive.
Exactly. Takeout food in general is so expensive, and of course we all want it at times, but yes, so less often is going to be better. Yep, you're right, Susan. So preparing some of your meals in advance is helpful, and then using leftovers to create new meals, like leftover chicken for stir fries or soups, and leftover rice and casseroles and fried rice. And there's a lot of recipes that you can check out at choosemyplate.gov. So back to the MyPlate, they have recipes too that can help with balanced recipes that are kind of fun and interesting. So you
Marcia.
Yes, boss.
You hit the nail on the head, because my wife's a rural Mississippi girl. When I say rural, I mean if you drive past her house at 30 miles an hour, you'll see it. If you drive faster, it'll just be a blur. So she's a rural Mississippi girl, and she knows how to use those leftovers. It's been a godsend that for us when we had a house full of children, and no one stays in the military for money. We stay because we love this country. And so a lot of times, you know, you have to stretch that dollar, and she knew how to do that. And so when she said yes to me, that was the best thing that ever happened, because I was scared, because she was going to say no, and because she's been a blessing. But really during hard times, and we did have very hard times, she would make a tremendous meal that was nutritious and filling for the children, the grandkids, and for us. And so preparation and using leftovers, being smart enough to use leftovers, is very wise. It's easy, it's quick, and it saves those dead presidents, that green crinkly stuff that the presidents are on. It saves that a lot. And so it's really wise when you can use leftovers.
Yeah, and Pops, I actually thought of you and your family when it came to using leftovers, because I have done a little research on you, and I've heard you talk about your family, and yeah, you had a big house full, so I know somebody had to make that stretch.
That's exactly absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just going back to some of those basics that a lot of us know from before, from back in the day. You know, people used to do this a lot, and it's a great way to save money. You can use those pantry staples and make meals for under $2 per serving. So you really can stretch it for sure, and then you can use that, your meal plan, your grocery list, and incorporate all of it together to get those recipe items that you need. It's pulling it all together. I just wanted to quickly mention the SNAP program. It's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and it's something that's, I don't know, Pops, if you guys have talked about SNAP on your show before. Have you talked about it? I'm guessing you probably
No, Marcia, this is the first time. And I'm so glad that you are talking about this. No, really, Marcia, you're bringing some really good information to the show. And I'm glad that you are taking the time to talk about the SNAP program.
Because, yeah, SNAP, the thing about SNAP is it is a really underutilized program, and not as many people use it as qualified for it. So it is really underutilized, and a lot of reasons that we hear, they vary, but some people think it's just more trouble than it's worth, and it's a lot of filling out forms, and some people feel that it's just too difficult for getting very little money. But the truth is, there are people that can walk you through these steps and help you fill out the forms and make sure you're qualified. And in Georgia, a fun fact about SNAP is that most people do get more than the minimum amount, so it can really add up. And you can also, something I learned recently about SNAP is you can also roll over your benefits, so you can save for a couple months of your SNAP benefits and get a bigger grocery haul all at once. So it really can make a difference. Yeah, and so if your listeners are interested in learning more about SNAP, there's a number here. It's 877-423-4746. So that's 877-423-4746. Or people can go to the DFCS Georgia website. So just to find out more information, it might be worth checking into. So that's just a little bit about SNAP. It's a really great program and very underutilized, so people may want to check it out.
Marcia, this is Susan. Is SNAP only for families with children, or
No, I'm glad you asked that. No, I'm glad you asked that. There is a senior SNAP program. So thank you for bringing that up. And that is another common misconception, is that it is just for people with young children. But no, there's a senior SNAP program. So learning more about that, and if your listeners may qualify, is super important at any age. So getting more information at that number or at that website could really can spell all that out for them. Does that make sense?
Susan, thank you for asking that question, because I didn't realize that there is a senior SNAP program. This is very informative, and I can let our senior population know that they can be entitled to this program. This is awesome.
Oh yeah,
this is awesome.
Yeah, SNAP.
I was getting a little bit mad at Susan because she's just too smart, but she's answering some good questions. No, I'm only teasing.
I think I've talked more today than on any other show put together combined.
Well, she's your executive. She's your executive producer.
What is so good?
Yes.
Ashley,
that's right. And
Ashley,
go ahead, Susan.
This is a subject near and dear to my heart. I'm trying to eat healthier. I'm very worried about diabetes. It runs in my family, and I've been carrying extra weight for too many years now. So since January, I've been doing calorie counting, portion control. My philosophy is there's no such food as a bad food. There's just bad portion sizes. And since January 2nd, when I started doing it, I've released 12 pounds back into the universe. I got a lot more to go. A lot more to go. But yeah, this is, and I love the 3 Ps because that helps me plan my meals for the week, which is very important when you're trying to be calorie conscious and portion control conscious and balanced nutrition. Everything within moderation.
Exactly.
And,
well,
and you know,
good
Marcia,
for you.
One of the reasons that we have this, one of the reasons that we have this show is when we have a lot of fun, we kid, we joke. Dr. Pitts and Susan, they're used to my sense of humor, and they know I like to laugh and joke and whatever. But you know, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And I'm sure that Pastors Roger and Velma, being pastors, they know that this is scriptural. And you know, so the purpose of this show is to give out information. And Marcia, you know, talking about the preparation, talking about shopping smartly, talking about the smart plate, all these things that we're talking about is good information. And they're geared to help individuals, not only health-wise, but economically as well. And so I just appreciate all that that Dr. Pitts, all that Susan's questions are asked, and all that information that you're bringing. And I think this is a good time, by the way, to take a break so that you can tell everybody how they can contact you, how they might want to contact Open Hands Atlanta, so that and then on the end of the show, I'm going to have you do it again so that people know how to get really good information. And you want to know something? You've got it. Thank you, Pops and the crew. So you got your contact. The small printing is kind of hard to see.
Okay. You want me to read
no,
it?
that's no problem. So if you can read it off to our viewing audience.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Yep. So I'm going to give my phone number if anyone would like to contact me. It's 470-607-3608. And then I can give my email address with Open Hand, and that's M as in Marcia, and then Berlin, like the city in Germany, Berlin, B as in Bravo, ERLIN at openhandatlanta.org. And you can also go to the Open Hand website at openhandatlanta.org as well.
Great. And let me say, I hope, Marcia, that in your schedule, that you have a time to come back and talk about so many other programs and information when it comes to lactose intolerance, when it comes to sprue, when it comes to a number of things that would be beneficial for our viewing audience to really know.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. So little time.
But let me tell you, you're giving a lot, and I'm so glad that you showed that smart plate. So, because I was thinking about having something tonight, so I'm gonna have to cut down on some of that portion size that I had in my mind's eye. So I'm really glad that you put that smart plate up, so I can continue losing weight and staying healthy. Any last comments from Dr. Pitts and from Susan?
Well,
this was
I wanted
really
to say that it's
so
not
much,
a diet.
for,
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Susan. I was just going to
go ahead, Dr.
mention, just to thank you, Marcia, for the information. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to thank you, Marcia, for the information. Some of the physicians I've worked with in the past, we would give out the My Plate visual, and it was always helpful because we could give patients something to take home. You know, they being in the office and we'll, telling them these things, but people forget. And so to have something that we would have a handout that we would give them, and we'd encourage them, put it on your refrigerator so that you're constantly looking at it. And in those moments, and honestly, many of them, they would get disappointed, especially when they saw the portion sizes for some of the things that they really wanted to eat and how much smaller they were. And we would just encourage them, listen, again, all in moderation, and things that you can kind of control yourself. What we would tell them is things like the size of your fist or the size of your thumb, or, in terms of certain foods to eat. And again, these are things that they could control themselves. Yeah. And so it's good to be reminded of that, but also to give them something to constantly look at, to see. And even when they're going to the grocery stores, looking at things and looking at their plate sizes, and actually some of them would come back and say, well, you know what, I was able to use my fist to measure the meat size, or my thumb to measure the butter size, in terms of how much to use. So thank you for that reminder. And again, it's all about control that we have within ourselves and what we can do. And we really can do much more than we think if we put our minds to it. I mean, that 12-pound weight loss, Susan, that's 12 pounds, okay? You didn't say that a couple months ago, but you started. And so every little bit helps.
That's right.
So thank you.
Oh, of course. You're so welcome. And I totally agree with you that, it's just something that we have to continuously focus on, and going back to basics is really what it's all about. It doesn't have to be super complicated. It is all about that balance. And, sometimes in our lives it's easier, sometimes it's harder, but we just have to keep coming back to it. Yeah. And
it's a journey.
It is a journey. And we can all do it. It's not always easy, but we can do it. We can do it. And we just have to focus on the process.
Right.
It's not about perfection. It's about the process and enjoying it. It's enjoyable. So
can you go over the 3 P's again real quickly?
Sure. We want to. Well, how about you guys tell me the 3 P's? This is quiz time, Pop.
Planning.
Plan.
Right. So we want to have a good plan. Focus when we're buying. Yeah.
Preparation.
Exactly. Right. So we just want to focus on those 3 steps of the process, each step of the way, and working on that balance, variety, moderation, each step of the way is a great way to go.
Marcia, you should really know that you did a good job. For me to remember that, for me to remember that is awesome. I'm just telling you, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good now.
He's got the 3 P's.
That's exactly right. And so, we have so much fun, but I know that we're hitting individuals who really need to get information like this here. And the information you gave has been inspirational, not only informative, but inspirational for me, so I can cut back in my mind's eye on that plate when I was going to stack it up a little bit and all. And so, Marcia, we sincerely appreciate you coming, sharing with open hand Atlanta. And I always end the program by saying this here, because the bottom line is we're here to serve you. We love you, and we want you to live a healthy, high quality of life with your loved ones. That's the only reason why we're coming month to month. And it makes our hearts feel good to be able to know that we are giving you the good information that you really need to know. Until next time, as I always say, please be good and kind to yourself, because God loves you. God bless you now. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank
and
you,
congratulations, Susan. 12 pounds. 12 pounds. Go, Susan. Go, Susan. Go, Susan. Go, Susan.
It's just
God
a
bless
start.
you all.
It's a drop in the bucket. It's just a start.
Thank you.
Exactly right. Bye-bye.